All right, my friend, today we are talking all about camping in Arches National Park. So if you are hoping to camp while you are visiting this beautiful national park, this is the video for you. My name is Ash. I'm a former park ranger and the founder of Dirt in My Shoes, and I'm also from Utah and have spent a ton of time in Arches National Park. So today I wanted to talk to you about the camping options, both in the park and outside of the park, because Arches National Park actually only has one campground. And so that doesn't open up very many options for you if you're hoping to camp. But don't worry, I've got you covered because there are a lot of good options just outside of the park as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the map of Arches National Park. Here we have it. This is the town of Moab down here. We've got the Arches entrance right here and the main road that goes to the park here. Now, the only place to camp in Arches National Park, and I'm talking about front country camping. You can do backcountry camping here, but today we're talking about places that you can drive to. So what you'll do is you'll drive all the way to the end of the park road and find the Garden Campground right out here. And this is the only front country campground in the park. It is really cool to be camping in Arches National Park itself. So this campground is a really awesome option if you can get a reservation here. Because it's the only front country campground in Arches, it is extremely competitive. So it can be really difficult to get a spot here, but I'll walk you through the process here in a minute to show you how to get one of those hard to get reservations. But let's talk about the campground itself for a minute. The Devil's Garden Campground is actually a year-round campground, so that's pretty cool. And you only need reservations from March through October. So the beginning of March to the end of October, you need reservations to be in this campground. During the off season, you don't need a reservation. It is first come, first serve, but it's pretty cool that it's open year round. I love visiting Arches during the off season and coming during those times when there's just not as many people. So that's a really good option if you're hoping to camp in this park and you don't want to deal with having to snag a reservation. There are no hookups here. There are no dump stations, nothing like that. You won't have any amenities for your travel trailer or your fifth wheel. You'll just have a parking spot and a table and some community bathrooms. So no showers, nothing like that. There is water. You do have water spigots, so that's nice. But other than that, it's a pretty rustic accommodation. You just don't have a whole lot of amenities in this park. But where it lacks in amenities, it makes up for in views, especially at night when you can see the stars. It's absolutely fantastic. A couple of other things you'll want to note is that you do have a stay limit of 7 days every 30 days. So for every 30 days, you can only stay for 7. And for every year, you can only stay for 14. So they are very strict as far as how long you can stay camping in this park. This is even more strict than most national parks that I've seen. And so you'll want to keep that in mind. They do restrict you to 7 days when you're making that reservation or when you're doing the first come, first serve. So keep that in mind. The other thing is this campground really has no shade. The trees are really small. If you're lucky to be tucked back into like a rocky area, you might have a little bit of shade, but otherwise you're going to want to bring your own shade, especially during the summer months when it can be over 100 degrees during the day. Okay, so let me show you how to get a reservation at this campground. So what you'll want to do is go to recreation.gov and you can type in Arches National Park. Okay, so this brings up all your options for Arches. You'll scroll down and go to camping and click on the Devil's Garden Campground. And I forgot to mention, this picture just reminded me, but you do have a length limit of 40 feet. So a lot of these campsites aren't super big, but you can get a decent sized trailer in there. So 40 feet. But what you'll do is you'll come down, you'll scroll down, and these campsite reservations can be made 6 months in advance for the regular campsites and 1 year in advance for these 2 group sites. The group sites, you pay per person and they're more expensive, so that's not going to make sense for most people. but these regular campsites are 6 months in advance. Now, to show you a couple of things here, so you will see there are some group sites available for these dates. Everything else down here you can see is just reserved. It gets reserved so fast. And then you'll see here November 1st, this FF, that means first come, first serve, because reservations end after October 31st. So when November 1st hits, then all of the sites go first come, first serve. You can't do anything online. You need to show up to the campground and get your spot in person. So that is why all of that FF is there. Let's go 6 months from now because reservations are open through April right now, and the reservations start again on March 1st. You can start making reservations in the campground. So let's go to April and take a look. And as you can see, all of these are already reserved. So what you need to do, and I'll show you kind of this process. So these are available, but this is a group site, so that's not going to help. All of these sites are reserved already because exactly 6 months in advance of when you want to be there, you need to be on recreation.gov. And it's 10 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Mountain Time is when you'll need to be on here, ready to go, ready to get that reservation. Otherwise, they just get all snatched up really, really quickly. As you can see in recreation.gov right now, there's like nothing available. Okay, so I clicked on this campsite, and as you can see, it has a length of 38 feet. This one actually has a few little trees, so you might get some shade during the day. This campsite is already reserved completely for April, and then you'll see all these NRs. That just means that that site has not been released yet for those dates, so you have to wait until it's 6 months in advance. But if I hover over it, it will tell me. So it says check back on November 1st. That's when this date becomes available. And as soon as that date becomes available, so on November 1st, I can reserve up to 7 days. So that's something to keep in mind. But going back, you'll see just everything is already taken. And this, no campsites available for our dates. Everything is taken. Even for today, all of those are taken. And so like I said, you just really need to be here exactly when they open up. So if you hover over, I'll show you again. So you'll see these not released. So on the 26th, which is tomorrow, you can reserve this at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. So you have to be here and you have to be ready at that time. I would log in, make your account, log in, get here 10 minutes earlier so and be ready to click the add to cart button exactly when the clock changes. So that's a pretty normal problem. Again, because this national park only has one campground, those spots just get booked up so quickly. So I wanted to talk for a minute just about some of the other campgrounds in the area that I enjoy staying in if I can't get into the Devil's Garden Campground, because Moab really has a ton of options. Okay, so I want to show you, there's what's called the BLM, Bureau of Land Management, BLM campgrounds that are near Arches National Park. So there are a lot of options, and there's a bunch of information here for you. There are some that are reserved through recreation.gov, but most are just first come, first serve. And so this map shows you some of your options in this area. So this is typically where I like to start, with just outside of the park. And my favorite one, but again, this one's pretty hard to get into, is this one right here, Goose Island. But you can go along this road. So you see we have Arches National Park. Here's your Arches entrance. You can go along Highway 128 here, and there are a ton of campgrounds right here. And so those ones are really nice. I really like those ones. You've got this one right here. This is the road to Canyonlands National Park, Island in the Sky District. And so there are some out here as well, which are a good option. The other thing that I like is this highway right here. It's Highway 279. This is a really good area to camp as well. And you can see there are several really good options out here. And so that's where I would focus my time trying to get camping. If you can't get it in the park, either these ones right here or kind of these ones right here make the most sense for getting into Arches quickly. But again, if you're planning on going to both Arches and Canyonlands, then these ones out here would make sense too. Another good option is searching a camping website. I like to use Campendium, but there are other options like The Dirt or things like that. If you put in Arches, it will take you to a map and it will show you all the camping options in the area. And so I just really like this. If you're looking for something that has more hookups and things like that, then you can see all these RV parks here. So that's really convenient, but then you can also see all of these different options. So we have Arches National Park right here. As I said, there's a bunch right here. There's a bunch on this road down here. Here's the road to Canyonlands here. But you'll see there are a few more in here. There's one, the Willow Springs, that's really popular. This is a boondocking area, and so you actually don't even have to pay to stay in here. There's no shade, and it can be pretty miserable in the summer, but there are a lot of boondocking options. Here's another one, just outside of Arches National Park and in this area. So again, and when it says dispersed campsites, that is boondocking, and a lot of times those are free. So there's a ton of options in this area, as you can see. And so it's just a matter of finding what works best for you and what you're hoping to do while you're there and where you're hoping to be. But in general, when I'm trying to get something first come, first serve, because I can't get something in Arches National Park, then I will either try Highway 128 or Highway 279 first. And try to get into those campgrounds there. Again, they can be really popular, especially the closer you are to Moab, but those are great options. And then if I can't find something there, a lot of times I will go to one of those boondocking or dispersed camping areas for free, maybe set up for the night and then try to get into one of those other ones the next morning, or just stay in the dispersed the whole time. It's really whatever you're most comfortable with and what you're hoping to do. Okay, so key takeaways from this Arches camping video. It is extremely competitive to get a campsite at Devil's Garden Campground. So if you are visiting during the reservation period, which is March 1st through October 31st, you'll need a reservation. You'll want to make your account on recreation.gov in advance, usually 1 to 2 days in advance. And then right before those get released at 8 a.m. Mountain Time, you'll want to log on, you'll want to be ready to go, you'll want to already know which campsite you want, which one's going to work for you, and you'll want to click into that one and be ready to hit that book now button as soon as the clock turns to 8 a.m. Mountain Time. So that's how you're going to get those Devil's Garden ones. If you go during the first come first serve season, which is November 1st through the end of February, then you'll just want to get to the campground pretty early in the morning, usually by 8 or so if you can. Get in there so that you can snag up one of those first come first serve sites. And you'll need to do that in person. You'll get there. There is a camp host that will help you, but basically you'll want to drive around, pick your site, and pay for it when you get there. If you're not able to do either of those, then there are a ton of good camping options in Moab. So you'll want to use a website like Campendium or The Dirt to find all of those options, see what's going to work best for you. Try to get as close to Arches and Moab as you can, but you really shouldn't stress too much about it because there are just so many options in the area. And last resort, you can go to dispersed or boondocking site if you're not able to get into something else. So keep all of that in mind as you're planning your camping trip to Arches National Park. I hope you're able to get what you need, and I hope that you have a great time hanging out under the stars of Arches National Park.